Well, I think the first light bulb for Grenache for me was at Hospice du Rhone back in like 2001, 2002. And it was McLaren Vale Grenache from Derenberg called Custodian. And that really was the first eye-opener. I'd had some inexpensive Spanish wines made of Garnacha, and that was really it. And from there it went into the south of France. It went back to Spain. It can have so many different styles. It can be made light and fruity and kind of easy. It can be made a little darker, a little more muscular.
Who are some producers that inspired you early on? Like, you mentioned McLaren Vale, so what was the style of that?
That was big,
wine?
big fruit, big texture, super jammy.
And how long ago was that?
Well, it was 20 years ago. Now, and then it rolled into Chateauneuf. Now, you know, Louis Barroul from Chateau de Saint-Côme-en-Gingadas, he's a master. There are so many great producers in Chateauneuf, whether it's Julien Barrault at Domaine de la Baroche, Marie Giraud, Michel Gassier does a great job in the Costière de Nîmes, Charvan, Useglio. You know, there's a smattering. It really just kind of depends on if you're looking for fruit or savory, more New World, more Old World. And of course, Rayas is always kind of the benchmark, and that's a great example of a light-bodied wine with not much color that is, you know, sought after all around the world.
Cool. And what about domestically? Any producers here that like jumped out early on 20 years ago?
Domestic producers 20 years ago, I think John Albin kind of led the way, but what Justin Smith does with Grenache is pretty spectacular. You know, there weren't many Grenaches 20 years ago here in Paso or even on the Central Coast. I mean, Bob Lindquist was doing it. Greg Brown at T-Vine was sourcing some I think it was Frediani
right.
Vineyard Grenache out of Napa, and I think those vines have been long torn out and replanted to cab. Ridge, you know, Ridge has got a pretty strong, deep history with Grenache from their certain sites, whether it be Lytton or Geyserville. There's a lot of Grenache interplanted with Zinfandel and Mataro and Alicante and Petit Syrah.